guys, welcome back to Queen of Quirk. In this video series, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my conversations with 6 Trinity College Dublin students who are from different countries all around the world about their experiences in applying to Trinity, in their accommodation in Dublin, and about being an international student in Ireland in general. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Jane and I am in the dual BA program between Trinity College Dublin and Columbia University in New York City. I have just spent the last 2 years at Trinity College Dublin, but I am from Ireland, so I am not an international student. So I thought making this video could be helpful to any prospective students out there who are not from Ireland. In this video, I'll be talking to 6 students, 3 from the United States, 2 who were living in Europe when they first applied, and 1 from the UK. Hello, Jackson. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? So my name's Jackson Littlewood. I'm from Colorado in the US, and I'm studying politics, philosophy, economics, and sociology at Trinity. But since I'm going into my 3rd year, that course is being narrowed down with subjects. So now I'm just doing politics and economics.
I'm Gelsey. I'm from the United States. I obviously go to Trinity and I study English. 20 years old, just doing my best. I lived most of my life in Georgia and now I live in Arizona.
Hi, I'm Gaia. I'm French and Italian. I grew up in Singapore and I study English literature.
I'm Maddie. I'm American originally, but my family all lives in Italy and I study mathematics and philosophy.
You're currently traveling to where again?
We're going to Laveno, which is a town on Lago Maggiore in northern Italy. So it's right by where my parents live. We're back for the summer and Gaia came up too.
I'm Alice. I'm from England and I study English, which is kind of ironic. I have a question about why did you leave England to study English?
I'm Julia Bohenick. I'm from the United States. I live in Pennsylvania. I'm 20 years old. I'm doing English studies, going into 3rd year.
I'd love to know, why did you decide to apply to Trinity or to apply to a university abroad?
I mean, I guess the main reason I applied to university abroad was because I wanted to kind of be out of my comfort zone and do something, a little bit different with my college career. I really only applied to one school that was pretty close to home, and that was Colorado State University in my hometown, kind of as a backup, I guess. But I wanted to go far away because I wanted to, I've sort of lived most of my life in one place, and so I wanted to kind of experience something different. Trinity was great because it's one of the best schools in the world. I was looking into a bunch of schools in the UK as well, and so one summer we all went to Scotland mostly, which is where I was looking at a lot of schools. And on the way, we stopped in Dublin and looked at Trinity, and I just really, really liked what I saw there. The campus was amazing. All the program, I was introduced to, PPS sounded great.
I applied to the UK. I applied to through UCAS and everything. But my mom was the one who suggested to me. She was like, "Why don't you look at Ireland?" And so I did, and I looked at the English course at Trinity, and I really, really liked it. And so I just applied as a plan B. I was like, you know what, I'll just apply, I'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I didn't actually think I'd get in because it's such a small course of 40 people.
I don't know, I was looking at American schools and I was kind of not feeling it, I guess. Everyone tells me, oh, you have a gut feeling when you get the school that you really like, but I wasn't feeling it, and I was going on campus tours and I was just kind of I don't know, I don't like it, I don't really feel it. And I like to travel a lot. We've been to Europe a good amount because my parents are from Poland, so I really like European cities. I just feel like they're a lot more student friendly for the kind of student friendly that I like.
I got into places in the UK, but I just wasn't really feeling it. I fancied a bit of a change after A-levels, and I put an application into Trinity just after I think I'd finalised my UCAS, just thinking, oh yeah, it might be nice to kind of apply here as well. I just went through this whole period of not being super up for any of the universities that I'd looked around. And then I think just gradually as I went through the summer, the feelings I've been feeling of not being super excited about going to somewhere in the UK, they just got more extreme,
I don't know, I think I was I'd be the cool kid who goes to school in a different country. That's not true. I mean, kind of.
In most American schools, you have to
take classes that are called general degree courses. And that involves biology, math, everything, even if that's not what you're majoring in. And I found that stupid because I don't like math, because math is stupid. I want to say I applied to 15 schools for college, and I believe the majority of those were all in Europe. And I had been to Ireland twice before deciding on Trinity, and I really liked it there. I like Dublin a lot compared to other places like London, which I you know, London's nice, but it's such a big city and it's just like so much to deal with. Right when I was deciding on colleges, Brexit and stuff was going on, and my lord, like I just like, you didn't really know what was going on with that. So I was like, I don't know if I want to, you know, sign up for a sinking ship there in case something goes crazy. I was like, in Ireland, I can trust the EU. They'll keep me solid.
I was looking for something. It's hard if you're coming from like a North American background, especially. I was looking for multidisciplinary courses, which are a lot harder to find in Europe. I find since you're entering into one program usually, I was really grateful that Trinity offered programs like TSM or like Joint Honors, where you had the ability to do both maths and philosophy. There are all these different combinations, and as much as like the organization surrounding those courses might still be developing, I am ultimately really grateful that I get to do both and that I get that breadth, because I don't see where I would have been able to get it otherwise.
What was your application process like? Was there much involved, or how did you find it?
It was actually kind of crazy because for like the UK, I had gotten already like my answers way before. Instead, I feel like Ireland is a bit more like on the continent, like with like Europe and France, where you kind of know in what's called August that you get in. Yeah. And so I got accepted in round 2, which was like the 29th of August, and I'd already accepted to go to the UK, but I really, really wanted to go to Trinity, and so I called the UK and I said I cancelled. And so that was a Friday. I bought my ticket to Ireland on a Saturday, and on Sunday I was in Ireland, and it was like Freshers Week, so like my life just changed.
You did the French back, right?
Yes. What happened was I had already got accepted to the UK, and I was like, oh, like maybe I won't send it to Ireland, you know. But then I was like, you know what? I'm already like halfway through. I'll just send in my grades. And so the thing is that I had to like translate all the documents in French into English, which I did. And I had to call my headmistress, who was on holiday, to sign the documents.
How about you, Maddie? What was it like for you? Because like you're American but living in Italy, so did you just apply through the normal system in Italy?
No, so for me, I was doing the European Baccalaureate. And
nice.
For your viewers that don't know, that's like, there are a bunch of European schools run by the European Union with a bunch of different language sections. I was in the English section. A recruiter from colleges in Ireland came to our school, and she came to speak to only the Irish students. Confused about what I wanted to do, had no idea, so I figured I might as well go. And it seemed really simple, like misleadingly so at the time. The fact that you just had to like put in your information and then literally just like select like different courses that you were interested in. And because I didn't know much about Ireland, I literally only knew about Trinity, so I just chose a couple courses that looked interesting, and I kept it like that for ages. And I did my UCAS. I completely forgot about it, and I did my UCAS for computer science, and then I arrived, I think it was like May or June, like right in the middle of my back, and I realized I didn't want to do computer science. I didn't want to accept any of the offers in the UK. And what's really nice about the CAO is you can change like the order of the courses that you want up until the last minute. So I think it was like the beginning of June, and I went on and I could change everything. So I changed it and put math and philosophy first. I was waiting for my offer. I knew I'd gotten the points, so I was really happy with that, because I knew there was no way I wasn't going to get an offer. And I was waiting for my acceptance on the 21st of August, and we were like hiking through the Dolomites at the time, so we were like on the top of a mountain, and so we only had like reception every time we came to like the peak of a mountain. And I was like checking, and I didn't get an offer, and it turned out they'd screwed up my points in like the conversion because they weren't familiar with the baccalaureate. So then there was like a whole mess there, and I thought I was gonna have to take a gap year, and we had to like call loads of people, and finally they like realized that they'd made a mistake. But that meant that I couldn't get accepted until round 2 as well, and that meant that I couldn't get accommodation. So it was kind of a mess there, and I ended up flying into Ireland the same day that I got my official acceptance, but it worked out.
That's crazy. You guys are like the most interesting stories here. I had no idea. Was there any other aspect of your application, or was it just the CAO or UCAS, like your grades, or was there like essays or other things?
Because I had American residence, and because I was coming from a European school, there weren't. It was only the CAO. I did have to submit a lot of documents to prove my residence, to prove that I deserved like the lower fee status.
Yeah.
They wouldn't charge me the international rate.
Yeah.
As far as application process, I literally just had to put in like my school, my date of birth and stuff, and then I had to send them an official copy of my baccalaureate once I received it.
I just had to send in my grades.
Because of the way the point system work, especially if you're going for a course at Trinity that has really, really high points, you need to be doing 4 subjects.
In the A levels, yeah.
Also, I would say I don't know exactly what points get assigned from what, but if you have a qualification that's not like an A-level, but it's also not a GCSE, it could be an AS, it could be this thing called an extended project, which gets done in the UK, which is kind of like a mini dissertation, and it counts like the same UCAS points, I think, as like an AS. Or I did like a freestanding maths thing as well as my GCSE. It was just kind of like an extension of like the first year of A-level almost. It's just worth putting that stuff down when you fill in the CAO, because it might be like the points boost that you need. With UCAS, everything is done online. When I applied through CAO, they were like, oh yeah, we need copies of all of your GCSE certificates, but they have to be done physically. And if you want proof that we've received them, then you just have to send us a blank postcard, because the dates are different in terms of finding out about colleges, and the whole application systems are separate. Like you have UCAS, you have CAO, they don't interact with each other. Like nowhere in the UK knows that you've also applied to Trinity. Trinity doesn't know that you've applied to places in the UK. And so for a period of about a week, 2 weeks, I was holding places at 2 universities, which probably isn't great in terms of like taking up the space. Hold on to your place in the UK, because if ever the CAO comes out and you don't get it, then, you know.
You may as well have those backup options.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously then, like, once you've decided what you're doing, you do need to cancel, like, straight away and, like, cancel the accommodation just so that, like, other people can get it, but keep it going, because in the UK, if you get certain grades, you kind of know that you're going to get in, but because the points change every year for courses in Ireland, like, you have no idea if you're going to get in or not. Just, I had a bit of a dramatic results day because I got one of my A-levels marked really wrong. So I've kind of just been going through results day in a fluster, like, and I was actually on holiday with my boyfriend at the time when I got into Trinity, and I had no idea it was even the day. Yeah, I literally decided I was coming here. Like, I was sat on the top of a Scottish mountain top, just being like, maybe I should. Suddenly I thought, oh, Brexit. So I like was on the phone on this holiday. It must have been for like a full day on the holiday, and bless my boyfriend at the time for sitting through that, just asking about like my fee status and like whether it would change during the course of my degree. And they were like, oh, you need to come kind of like this year because we can't guarantee next year whether the fees are going to stay the same. But obviously it has now. But like that is one thing I would say to people in the UK, like they do need to check the fees because it's dependent every year. At the time the fee status was guaranteed for my year, but they weren't sure about the year below. Obviously now, like it has stayed for the same for the year below, and I think it's staying the same for incoming freshers this year. I don't know about the years afterwards. I don't think anybody does. It's like a whole mess. Coming to Trinity at the minute is so much cheaper than going to university in the UK because it's €3,000. So even with the exchange rate the way it is, you're talking like 2,600 quid, 2,700 quid, which is amazing considering that courses in the UK are like 9,500 a year difference. But the accommodation in Dublin is so expensive. So in the UK, if you go to a UK university, you can have your tuition covered by the government whilst you're there, and then you pay them back via student loan. But you can't get access to it if you are coming to uni in Ireland, even if you're a British citizen. I think it's different for people coming from the north, but like for people from England, Scotland and Wales, I'm fairly sure you can't get any help. You need to be able to make sure that you're going to be able to fund this.
Tell me more about the application process, because it's quite different to the Irish application process.
In the United States, we have something called the Common App. Trinity was the only one that isn't on the Common App. Almost every other international university I applied to was. You had to go to their website. And I still remember this because I thought it wasn't like a real website because it looks very like AOL, like 2002. It's it needs to be updated. Let me just say, I applied literally the day applications opened. I was so excited. Like we had a Trinity rep who visited my high school, and I talked to her and she had given me like the dates things open, and I had it on my calendar. Like I had all my essays thing. I applied within that day.
There wasn't anything too hard about it. I mean, it's the standard information you'd fill out.
You have to fill out all the basic stuff like your name, social security, all that stuff.
I have to say it was a little bit stressful as a student like applying from abroad. It was easy, I guess. It wasn't as intensive as like American applications, but it was also kind of harder. I remember turning everything in, and then for some reason my application like wasn't going through, and I like emailed the academic registry and they were like, here's your wait number, like just wait, you'll get some answers. The way that I learned that I got in one of my teacher recommendations just wasn't going through for some reason. So I like emailed a lady and I was like, hey, my teacher's recommendation is going through. Is everything okay? And she was like, oh yeah, you're fine. You've already gotten in. And I'm like, okay.
You have an academic statement, which is, at least this one was like why you want to go to Trinity. And I don't remember what I said. I think just kind of normal college application stuff, but with a little pajang.
And my essay was just kind of a little cheesy, you know. I wrote about why I like it, why I want to go there, all that. Like, they can tell if you actually care or not in the essay.
If you did
English, they had a specific English question.
Remember correctly, I actually think it was about like why you want to study your particular course.
And then they had a third optional essay in which they just asked something vague and I just wrote whatever I wanted. I really think the third option, that's my biggest tip. Just do the optional essays because normally they don't have any rules and like it's not really that big of a deal. But if you write something cool in there, that could be a deal breaker, which I personally think my optional essay was the best part of my application. They weren't too bad. They were all like very limited words, so it's only about like 500 words each, so they're not crazy.
You put in your grades, and then I guess if you wanted to, I think there was a section where you could put in all the extra stuff that you do for like American schools, so you know, all your activities.
And then they had like the ability to submit 2 recommendations, and then my like high school college advisor had to send in a recommendation, so I guess 3 recommendations, and then I sent in a CV and an applicant and just like my portfolio, some stuff as like optional. Like I did all the optional stuff, like for all my college apps. I was like, I'm turning in everything you could possibly want from me. Please let me into your institution. I also applied for English and drama TSM, which obviously I didn't end up doing, but I do remember for that I had like an audition thingy I sent in for that, and then also my high school director wrote me a letter of recommendation.
Do you know if Trinity looked for a certain score for SAT?
I'm pretty sure that Trinity and all the schools I applied to in Scotland had a pretty similar score they wanted. I think it was somewhere in the high 1200s. You know, I think because the Irish, you know, way of getting into Trinity is so focused on, you know, the leaving cert and just testing and I think it'd be valuable to take the SAT and submit your scores to Trinity because that would put you on a similar playing field.
You have to have at least a 32 to apply on the ACT. You had to have at least a 32, and with extreme circumstances, it'll take a 30, like if the rest of your application's really good.
Do you think that Trinity kind of look for a certain kind of person or a certain kind of academic mindset or anything?
Honestly, I do think what helped me get into Trinity is I had a pretty wide variety of extracurriculars that I talked about with my subject. So for example, in high school, I was on both the debating team and the mock trial team. And I think I kind of talked a lot about in my essay about how that like translates to, you know, wanting to study politics.
I did a lot of extracurriculars. I was a busy high schooler, I'd say. I did like a lot of music and I did a lot of like leadership type of stuff as well, which I think will bode well in any application. Like if you do leadership positions, or even if you can be involved in something like an organization, or you can be involved in club. They have like honor societies in America for, you know, different subjects and stuff. That always really looks good, and it also shows that you cared more in high school maybe, or like put in the commitment to that.
Somebody who wants to engage a lot with the material and ask questions, if you can find some sort of extracurricular connection to your or just not even extracurricular, but just, you know, some sort of reason that you're interested in your subject, I think that's really what they're looking for.
Something specific instead of just being like, I like politics, and not really showing why. Like showing rather than telling. I agree.
It sounds stupid, but like maybe quirkiness, like a little bit like.
What channel are we on? Queen of Quirk, everyone.
I think they want to know that you're like interested in actually making an impact when you go there. I've looked in like on a bunch of societies, and I'm interested in doing this and X and Y and Z. I did a lot of choir growing up. Like I was such a choir kid. I wrote like I'm interested in joining some of the singing societies because they look really good, and I am in a singing society. They want people who are so passionate, want to try new things, but also maybe continuation with something.
I watched Julia every Christmas, which has been just been 2 Christmases, that she'd sing in the front square, and it was so cute.
I miss those performances.
I remember because I got my application, my acceptance, the last day of my winter exams, like right before my history exam, and I was really nervous to open the email because I'm like, oh, if I didn't get in, I'm gonna be so bummed. I'll probably fail my American history exam. But then I did it, and it was like literally I had 10 minutes, and I was so excited. The American history teacher, she like announced to the entire exam hall, like, Kelsey got into her dream school. There you go. You have to put down a deposit to hold your spot, and then you pay your fees later. And it was, I don't know, it was like a few $100s or something like that. And it was, I remember because when I got home, my parents and I were kind of like, so are we pretty sure you want to go to Trinity? Like, and I was like, well, duh, of course. Like, again, like I think it's harder like if you had more than one school that was kind of like your first choice. Whereas for me, Trinity was more or less my first choice with all my schools. Americans might not know this because I had a few other people in my year who also applied to international universities because they are posers and want to be me. Put that on record. A lot of UK schools, and I guess also Trinity, have like unconditional and conditional offers for things, especially for American students. So if you get unconditional, it means you're just accepted. Whereas if you get a conditional offer, it means you need to like raise your grades or something. But if that happens by the end of the year, you're going to be accepted. That's just something to keep in mind. Mine was unconditional. Let's put that on the record. They never doubted this.
So that's it for this video on applying to Trinity. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for more content on university life. Soon there will be videos on accommodation and the general international experience in Ireland. So stay tuned, and thanks so much for watching. See you all again soon. Bye!